Hello everyone, welcome to the Daily Current Affairs Analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy, 9th May 2025. Displayed here are the list of topics for the discussion. The first topic, Shingles vaccine and cardiac health. The second topic, India-UK free trade agreement. And the third topic, Article 51 of the UN Charter. And the fourth topic, All-Caste Census. And the fifth topic, climate change and its impact on gut health. So without much delay, let's begin our discussion with the first article. Before that, we have an important announcement from Shankar IAS Academy. Shankar IAS Academy's All India mock test UPSC Prelims will be held in the following days. The first test is over. The next test will be on 11th May 2025 and the third test will be on 18th May 2025. The link for the registration is available on the website. Do register and take that. Now we will begin with the first article. Shingles vaccine lowers heart attack risk for 8 years, says new study. The article is taken from Indian Express. Recently, a study conducted by the Kwanghi University from South Korea found that the shingles vaccine are effective in lowering heart problems. So let us discuss more about this article. So coming to the shingles infection or herpes zoster, it is caused by varicella zoster virus, which is also responsible for the development of chickenpox. And how this shingles infection develops in a human body. See, after the chickenpox, this virus, varicella zoster, will remain inactive in the nerve tissues of the human beings. After some time, when the person becomes older or his immune system gets compromised due to any medical condition, that time this virus will reactivate, which will lead to development of painful rashes on the skin and a nerve pain. So look at this picture, you can see the rashes developed from shingles, and this condition is known as, or this infection is known as shingles. So coming to the types of shingles vaccine, you can see that majorly we have two types of vaccine. First is live attenuated vaccine, for example Zostavax, and this vaccine was used in the early days for preventing shingles, but this vaccine is not that much effective in people living with low immunity. And the next is recombinant subunit vaccine, which is very effective and safer. The efficiency of this vaccine is above 90%, and the example of this vaccine is Shingles. And currently both these vaccines are available in India. So who should get vaccinated or who are at the risk of developing shingles? People above the age of 50, people living with low immunity or compromised immunity, for example, people living with diabetes, cancer, hepatitis and HIV are at the risk of developing shingles. And the vaccination is also recommended for the people who had shingles before. So coming to the South Korean study, the study was conducted by the Kwanghi University over 1.2 million people, and the duration of the study is average 6 years and maximum up to 8 years, and they found that the people who received the shingles vaccine are at the low risk of developing heart problems, and the best results are seen within 2 to 3 years of post-vaccination. And coming to the reduction rate of cardiovascular risk, you can see that overall, according to the study, the overall cardiovascular events got reduced by 23%, and in that the heart failure cases got reduced by 26%, heart attack cases got reduced by 22%, and other issues like the stroke and the cerebrovascular disorders got reduced by 24%, and clotting disorders got reduced by 22%. So this is the conclusion of the South Korean study, and how this mechanism works, or how the shingles vaccine helps in protecting the heart. See, the development of shingles infection causes inflammation and damage to the the heart vessel, and this damage to the heart vessel increases the risk of development of clot, and the clotting in the heart vessel is the primary reason behind heart problems and heart attack. And therefore this shingle vaccine will reduce the possibility, or it will suppress the shingle infection, and that way it will reduce the inflammation, protects the heart vessel, and indirectly it protects the overall cardiovascular health. And this is how the mechanism is working. So once again I will repeat. So the shingles infection causes inflammation and damage to the heart vessel, and the damage to the heart vessel increases the risk of clot formation, and the clot formation is a primary responsible for heart attack and other heart problems. So the shingle vaccine will reduce the inflammation and damage to the heart vessel, and therefore it will reduce the possibility of clot formation and thus protects the heart. So it is indirectly protecting the cardiovascular health. So coming to the prelims practice question, the question is, according to the recent study, which of the following health benefits were observed in the people vaccinated against shingles? 1. Lower heart attack risk. 2. Lower stroke risk. 3. Reduced risk of heart failure. And 4. Enhanced immunity to influenza. Select the correct answer using the code below. Option A 1, 2 and 3 only. Option B 1 and 4 only. Option C 2 and 3 only. Option D 1, 2, 3 and 4. See, the correct answer is option A 1, 2 and 3 only. It is not providing, the vaccination against shingles is not providing enhanced immunity to influenza. Therefore the correct answer is option A 1, 2 and 3 only. So with this we will move to the next article. Step forward for trade. India-UK free trade agreement is more comprehensive than expected. The article is taken from Business Standard. Recently, the India and the United Kingdom successfully completed negotiation for a free trade agreement, and our Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed this as a historic milestone, because as per the report, the free trade agreement with the United Kingdom is going to be more comprehensive than the free trade agreement signed by India before. So let us discuss more about this article. So coming to the question, what is meant by a free trade agreement? It is a treaty between two or more countries to reduce or eliminate the trade barriers such as tariff, import quota, and export restrictions. And free trade agreements also enhances greater trade flow by enhancing greater market access, reducing cost, and ensuring non-discriminatory treatment between the signatories. So coming to the benefits for India from this free trade agreement with the UK, the first is the tariff-free access to the UK market. That means almost all Indian exports will enter the UK with a zero or reduced tariff, and this will help in boosting textiles, pharmaceuticals, IT, and engineering sectors. And the next is increased investment and trade. That is, the trade is expected to increase by over euro 25 billion. And out of this total growth, 60% of this increase will be from the higher UK export to India. And this will be helpful in strengthening the economic cooperation and building more business opportunities between the two nations. And the next is access to high-end goods, that is Indian consumers to benefit from the lower tariff between India and UK, and this will benefit the sectors like automobiles and beverage industry. And the next is greater labor welfare. That means the temporary workers in the UK don't have to pay for the UK's national insurance. At the same time, they can contribute to the provident fund in India. And the next is the public procurement access. That is, the Indian companies can now bid for UK government procurement projects, and this will enhance the competitiveness and cost efficiency. And the next is boosting the service sector, that is easy movement of professionals with a potential long-term scope for integration of legal, IT, and consulting services. That means that both countries will accept the qualifications of the professionals from legal, IT, and consulting services. So therefore, it can have a long-term positive impact in the Indian economy, especially to the service sector. So coming to the prelims practice question, the question is with reference to the free trade agreement, consider the following statements. Statement 1, free trade agreements eliminate all tariff and quota on goods and services between the signatory countries. Statement 2, under the India-UK free trade agreement, Indian professionals are exempt from UK national insurance even if they do not contribute to the India's Provident Fund. Statement 3, the India-UK free trade agreement allows mutual access to public procurement market. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? Option A, 1 and 2 only, option B, 2 and 3 only, option C, 3 only, and option D, 1, 2 and 3. See, the correct answer is option C, 3 only. Let's check the answer. Yes, the correct answer is option C, 3 only. Statement 1 and 2 are incorrect. Statement 1 is incorrect because it is not eliminating all tariff and quota on goods and services. And statement 2, under the India-UK free trade agreement, Indian professionals are exempt from the UK national insurance even if they do not contribute to the Indian Provident Fund. This statement is also incorrect. So with this, we will move to the next article. What is the UN Charter's Article 51 invoked by Pakistan after India's Operation Sindoor? The article is taken from The Hindu. In response to the Operation Sindoor, the Pakistan Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishqadar said that India violated the Article 51 of the UN Charter. So in this context, let us discuss more about this article. First, we will start with the Operation Sindoor. India's counter-terror strike launched on May 7th, 2025 in response to the Pahalgam terror attack that happened in India on April 22nd, 2025. In this incident, we lost 26 people. And we believe that the terrorist organizations like Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed are behind this Pahalgam terror attack. Therefore, India launched an airstrike on 9 terror camps across the line of control in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir to dismantle these terror camps. And the total duration of this mission was 25 minutes. And what was the Pakistan's reaction to Operation Sindoor? The official statement, that is the foreign minister said that India violated the Article 51 of the UN Charter. We will see what is the Article 51 of the UN Charter shortly. And also raised allegations like India breached the sovereignty of Pakistan, caused civilian casualties. That means 31 people lost their life because of Operation Sindoor, and caused damage to mosque in Kotli. And Pakistan also claimed that they shot down nearly 5 Indian craft. And in response to the Operation Sindoor, they launched artillery shelling attack along line of control. And currently, Pakistan is saying that they reserve the right to respond, and also said India's action is illegitimate under the international law. So coming to the Article 51 of the UN Charter, we can see that the UN Charter is the founding document of the United Nations, which was signed on 26th June 1945. So the Article 51 falls under the Chapter 7 of the UN Charter, which talks about the protection of the general population during the time of military operation. So we will see the key provisions of this Article 51. It recognizes the right to self-defense. That means if a nation is under the armed attack, then the nation can take individual or collective efforts to protect the territory and sovereignty. And for that, there is a requirement. That means if a nation is engaging in self-defense or they are facing any threat, then they have to immediately report that to the United Nations Security Council. And if the nation is going for a military operation, and that should not be as a part of their that can be a part of their self-defense, but that should not be a prolonged military operation. That is, once the United Nations Security Council intervenes in this matter, then the nation has to stop the military operation. And the limitation of this provision is that the nations cannot override the authority of the United Nations Security Council. Coming to the legal and the strategic interpretation, India view. First, we will see the India's view. India is saying that we are facing constant terror attack from in the border area. Therefore, the Operation Sindoor is a legitimate self-defense. While on other side, the Pakistan's view is that Pakistan is saying that the Operation Sindoor is violating the sovereignty of Pakistan, and they are calling it as an aggression. See, the thing is, the concept armed attack itself is a matter of debate between the nations. It is a broader concept. So, a lot of nations raised questions like, can we consider can we consider a boundary dispute between two nations as an armed attack? See, an answer was given by the International Court of Justice in the year 1986, and the International Court of Justice in the case Nicaragua versus the United States, the court said that we cannot consider a border conflict as an armed attack. An armed attack should have a sufficient scale. At the same time, it should have a sufficient impact. Then only we can consider an attack as an armed attack. But at the same time, we can see that the United States, followed by the 9/11, they considered the action of a non-state actor as an armed attack, and they invoked the Article 51 of the UN Charter, and they invaded the Afghanistan. So still, this Article 51 of the UN Charter is a matter of debate, even though the International Court of Justice gave a definition to the armed attack in 1986. So coming to the prelims practice question, the question is, which of the following statement is correct regarding Article 51 of the United Nations Charter, which was recently seen in the news? A, it prohibits all forms of military action by the member states under any circumstances. Option B, it allows the use of force only after the United Nations General Assembly has given approval. Option C, it recognizes the inherent right of the individual or collective self-defense if an armed attack occurs against a UN member. And option D, it allows member states to carry out offensive strike to prevent future threats without any reporting obligation. See, the correct answer is option C, because the nations has inherent right to go for self-defense under the Article 51 of the United Nations Charter. So with this, we will move to the next article. Counting caste in the census is the first step towards building fraternity. The article is taken from Indian Express. We know that census, it is a practice of collecting data from a particular region to understand the demographic changes in that region between two different points of time, right? And in the recent times, we are talking about the caste census in India. But the problem is that the caste census is focusing more on SC/ST population. And here comes the importance of conducting an all-caste census in India. And this article from the Indian Express is talking about the importance of an all-caste census in India. So why an all-caste census is important? First is to address the historical exclusion. That is, in the post-independence India, the census focused only on counting the SC/ST population, marginalizing other caste communities in India. For example, the Savarna caste remains statistically invincible even today, and that reinforces a false casteless narrative in the society. And the second is corrective justice. Therefore, this all-caste census will help us to address this historical imbalance or this historical fault, and this will help us to make the dominant castes more visible in the society. And the all-caste census will also reflect the demographic changes in the society due to migration and partition. And the next is the conducting an all-caste census can also provide an opportunity for reviving the fraternity, because counting the caste will give more data about the different caste communities in India. Therefore, we can provide better social and political representation for different caste communities. Thus, we can promote the fraternity in the society. And the next is Savarna exceptionalism. Like I mentioned, a false narrative that the society is casteless. So this is because the upper caste communities are even today they are invincible statistically, and this can be addressed if you go for an all caste survey. And the next is spatial reality of the caste. We know that caste often determines the settlements of different communities. Therefore, if we get the data about different caste communities in India, then we can go for a planned, socio-political, a planned social as well as economic development. And the next is debunking riot fear. We know that caste is often considered as a sensitive factor in the Indian society. Therefore, touching caste or touching religion can sometimes lead to negative consequences. But if you take the experiences of states like Bihar and Karnataka, they conducted caste census without any riot or unrest. So this fear has to be debunked and for conducting the all-caste census. And the next is timing and national reckoning. Then we know that ideologically and the society is dividing, and at the same time we can see in the recent times a wave of rising nationalism in the society, and therefore a caste census is a data-driven step towards creating an inclusive society. It can be. So coming to the way forward, first is ensuring transparency. That is conducting the census with a scientific method and with better to ensure better accountability. And the next is public awareness. We have to make the people aware that this caste census is not for dividing the people, but rather promoting fraternity and uniting the society to make it more inclusive. And the next is data-driven policies. That means once we collect the data about the different caste communities, their socio-economic status, then we can restructure the socio-economic welfare programs as well as the reservation framework. And the next is strengthening the institutions. Like if we go for an all-caste census in India, then we have to empower the commissions like the National Commission for Backward Classes to interpret and act according to the data from the all-caste census. And the next is promoting fraternity. We can use the findings from the all-caste census to ensure more inclusive political and social representation of different caste communities in India. Through this, we can promote the fraternity. And the next is spatial inclusion. So, like I mentioned, the caste often act as a factor behind the settlement of different caste communities in India. That is, the settlements of different communities in different regions of the society. Therefore, we can use this caste geography data to reform planning and reduce segregation. And the next is preventing polarization. How we can prevent the polarization? Through encouraging responsible political and media discourse around the caste data. So this is a way forward. So coming to the mains practice question, the question is counting caste in the census is not about division but recognition. In the context of the statement, critically examine the significance of conducting an all-caste census in India. What are the possible challenges and way forward? So it's a 15 marks question and you have to write around 250 words. Write your answer, post it in the comment section. We will review and we will reply for your answer. Now it's time to move to the next article. Climate change is disrupting the human gut in a new path to illness. The article is taken from The Hindu, which is talking about the impact of climate change on the human gut health. So we'll begin with understanding the gut microbiota. So gut microbiota, it refers to an ecosystem inside our digestive tract where you can see 100 trillion microbes. And they perform functions like nutrient metabolism, immune modulation, pathogen defense, and the regulation of the mental and neurological health through this gut-brain axis. If this ecosystem gets disrupted, and the disruption of this ecosystem is known as gut dysbiosis, and this gut dysbiosis can lead to various problems like malnutrition in the people, diabetes, inflammatory bowel syndrome, and it can even lead to various major neurological conditions like development of Alzheimer's. How does climate change disrupt the gut health of the people? First, it will lower the nutritional quality of the crops, and thus it will make the crops less in iron, zinc, and protein, which are very essential for the cognitive as well as physical development of the individuals. And the next is food security from the crop failure and reduced animal produce will also lead to disruption of gut health. We know that ultimately the food for every life on this planet is nothing but the crops only. If the crops qualities are reduced, if the quantities are reduced, then it will create stagnation in the entire food chain. Next is altered water and soil microbiota impacting the gut indirectly. And the next is the heat stress. We know that the problems like the heat waves and cold waves are increasing. Therefore, this heat stress can increase cases like diarrhea and other health conditions. And the next is vulnerable populations. So the people living in the low and middle income countries, urban poor people, indigenous tribal communities are at the high risk of developing gut problems from this climate change. And coming to the public health implication for India because of this climate change, first is India faces dual burden of malnutrition and non-communicable diseases. As per the report from the WHO, we are seeing that 60% of the death in India, natural death in India, are caused due to this non-communicable diseases. And if the conditions like if the ecosystem inside the digestive tracts gets disrupted, then it can lead to chronic and infectious diseases in the human beings, and thus it will again increase the burden on the health system in India. And therefore the gut health is very important for both the cognitive as well as the physical health of the people. Once it gets disrupted, this can lead to a prolonged effect on the cognitive development of the people, as well as it will ultimately leads to low economic productivity. And the next is policy recommendations. What can be done? First is promoting interdisciplinary microbiome climate health research. And recently the ICMR, Department of Biotechnology, and Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, they are providing fund for this microbiome climate change research. And the next is strengthening the nutrition schemes with gut-friendly foods. For example, we can provide gut-friendly foods through Poshan Abhiyan and through the ICDS scheme. And the next is supporting the climate-resilient crops like millet, pulses, and traditional food. So, millets, they are very rich in fiber, which is very essential for the health of the intestines, and it is resilient to the climate change as well. That means millet requires only less amount of water. And the next is encouraging probiotics and fermented food products, and ensuring availability of the clean water, and ensuring steps for better sanitation will also help in protecting the human gut health. And finally, creating a gut health surveillance index under the National Livelihood Mission, and including the gut health surveillance index in various survey to assess the health and the overall well-being of the people. So in this topic we discussed how the climate change is impacting the human gut health, and based on this try to answer this the mains practice question. The question is, while the direct health impacts of the climate change are widely acknowledged, its effect on human gut microbiota remain underexplored. Discuss how the climate change affects gut health and the broader implications for public health in India. Also suggest measures to address these emerging risks. So it's a 15 marks question, and you have to write around 250 words. Write the answer and post it in the comment section. We will review and we will reply for your answer. With this, we are coming to the conclusion for today's current affair analysis. If you like the video, hit the like button, give your feedbacks as comments, and share this content with your friends. And before leaving this channel, don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time update from Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for listening to me. Have a nice day.